You're listening to the Live the Dream Media Network, Arizona's premier live podcast studio and online radio.
The following is a Live the Dream Media production.
All right, we are back in the studio for the new year, the first official episode of Local Marana in 2025. Yes. All right. That glass scream is intense, man. He's like, ah! Anyways, just want to welcome everybody to the new year and remind folks that you do have to write 2025 on all the documents and or type it going forward. I know that's hard to do. I think I did one yesterday. So yeah, I've already got a strike. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about is Parker Jones. Raul, do you know who Parker Jones is? I know I caught you off guard right away.
Who's Parker Jones? I have
Parker
no clue.
Jones. So over the break, Parker Jones is the infamous anti-hero for the Georgia Bulldogs. That he was on the sidelines running and celebrating, and he collided into the ref.
Oh, that's. Dude, that was
we have the first official anti-hero.
Social media and everything.
Yeah, we have the first official anti-hero of the year, and I thought we should talk about that a little bit because that's pretty funny, and I feel bad for the guy. You imagine starting the year off like that, man? I tripped a ref in a playoff game, and the sad thing is a lot of people's blaming him for the overall play of the Bulldogs, but you know, there was a lot more that happened in that, and you know, I'm sorry to all the Sun Devils out there. You know, I am a U of A Wildcat fan, but when we have only one school repping the state, I know it may.
We don't need to talk about that, man.
Anger some folks, but you know, you know what though? It was probably one of the coolest games I've seen in years in college football. Just back and forth. How many overtimes was it? 2 or 3?
2 overtimes, man, and we came back from, I think it was like we were down by like 17 with I think like 15 minutes to go. Yeah, and then the targeting call that didn't get called, that was pretty mind blowing too. But we won't get into that. We'll let the sports people continue to talk about that one. But those are some of the highlights I wanted to talk about from the break. Just sports world is just in shambles with college football, and I think everybody sees what's going on, and they're like, hey, we need some good leadership to run the sports program, to run college football. And a lot of people are talking about Nick Saban, and Nick Saban is known as one of the biggest leaders in the country. He's got a few books. I think, Raul, you just acquired one of his books, right? How to Be, or How Great Do You Want to Be, or something like that by him. Yeah, that's my next read. I'm getting done with kind of a mental toughness book, but right after that, I'm reading Nick Saban's book. The head coach at Marana gave it to me, and he said it's a great book for any coach to read and any person that wants to develop their leadership skills. It's a great read. I love it. And speaking on leadership, we have who I consider a leadership guru here in the community, and it's Jose Oliver. He's here with us, and this is our second episode together in the last month or two, and we're going to be talking about leadership, but we're also going to be talking about this huge leadership summit coming up here this month in just a few weeks, the Live2Lead Leadership Summit. So to kick this off, let's share this event with the folks, give them the date, how they sign up, and let them know the time is running out, but also seats are running out. And if we could also let them know what's going to happen when we do run out of those seats, what will be available after that?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, thank you, David, for inviting me again to the show. I am very excited to share and participate here with the audience, which certainly they are very welcome to give us a call, send us emails, and contact us, and we can follow up and follow through on the questions they may have. So you said it right, except that I'm not a leadership guru. I'm a normal human being. One of our sayings that we have is we're people of value who value people. That's who we are. At the end, this can be extended to be a leadership guru, and I aim to be that person. But at the same time, I'm just a human being willing to serve the community as much as I can. And one of the ways that we can serve the community is through leadership development events. And this event that we have been working collectively is the Live2Lead. This is going to be January 23rd at Oro Valley Church of the Nazarene. This is not a religious, even though we are using the church as our site, as our host site. In reality, this is a leadership development event. The speakers that we have lined up is John Maxwell, Valerie Burton, Chantel Lowe, Malcolm Gladwell. I mean, the four of them have written books, and the keynotes that they're sharing with us will give us some perspectives. And honestly, I am very excited with our live speaker, Dr. Dan Streeter, who is going to be speaking about choosing excellence. Choosing excellence. We have a choice, right? We have always a choice on how we can choose excellence. And the best way, getting to your main question, how we can get tickets for this event, Awakening Minds, llc.com/L2L. 3 characters, L2L. And that will take you to the landing page. You can see more information about the event itself, the speakers, how you can get your tickets. And certainly, if they use the code LTDM, Live the Dream Media, they can get 10% off. And we encourage the audience to consider getting a table setting, because this event is not just going to go and listen to the speakers. Is more driven towards how we can create an action plan after each speech, each keynote, and create an action plan based on the lessons learned that we have. Another saying that we have, nobody thinks better than all of us together.
Love it.
So when you bring your team, as you are bringing your team,
Yes,
David, you're bringing your team, so we can have the mic, if you will, for each of the attendees in our table, so that we can, okay, what is your perspective about this particular topic and how we can implement this in our organization?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm pumped. Like, I think I'm counting down the days, when you got like a big vacation or something else coming up, you're like, man, I can't wait. I'm counting down the days. And, folks, I know you guys have seen some marketing drips going on here, but it's going to pick up a lot more here in the next couple of weeks. So it's just a sign that you should go and do this for yourself and your personal growth and your team's growth. It's a no-brainer. I was sharing that the other day, and it's just a no-brainer. It's a great way to start off the year. I know a lot of people have these new goals and these resolutions and stuff that they're setting, and it's easy to invest in yourself. It's the best thing to do. I mean, whenever somebody's like, what should I invest in? I'm like, have you started with yourself yet?
That is a good point. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So after our last episode, we immediately scheduled this one. And with knowing that, I started asking people about leadership and what were some important talking points. What are some questions I could ask you, Jose, on the show? Because we have an hour, which is awesome. And man, we got a lot of stuff.
A lot.
Yes. And the key thing that came up the most, which is really interesting, and I think that these have something to do with it. And this is just my opinion, right? I'm not an expert or by any means or anything. It's just understanding imposter syndrome in the leadership role. And what was expressed to me about it is, when you're in that leadership role, you see other folks with their different styles and their different approaches to leadership, right? And this person expressed, well, how do I make sure I'm not caught up in that, right? How do I make sure that I'm not trying to be or feel like I'm not enough to be adequate like them? Like, it's just a really interesting thing. So, one of the things too is defining imposter syndrome and its prevalence, right? There's a Webster's dictionary version and everything, but like, when you put it in the context of where it's taking place, I think some of the meaning and definition can change a little bit. So I'd like to get your perspective on what imposter syndrome is. Have you heard of it before in some of your leadership trainings? And then we'll work through like how to overcome it and other stuff with it.
Yes, I love the question, and I saw it, and thank you for sharing those questions as well. What I notice, David, is sometimes when we have that imposter syndrome in leadership roles, is because you said it right. We try to mimic. We want to copycat other people that we know that they do. In some cases, what happens is that we, in reality, don't know what is leadership all about. And we want to, once again, make a copy out of other leaders that we know are good leaders. What we forget is staying very strong with our beliefs. Why are you now a leader? Why are you now the new manager in town? Why is that? Mm-hmm. And then build up from there and just make sure that your gifts and talents are very well used. But most importantly, when you become the leader and you are facing imposter syndrome, it's very, very important to stay focused on other people. People first. People first. There is one of the books by John Maxwell, The 5 Levels of Leadership. The first one is you have to pay attention to me because I say so, because I am your dad, I am your mom.
Yeah.
It's the title, exactly. It's the title. The second one is relationships, and the third one is results. So, or production. He calls production as well. So many of us, some of us, fall in the trap that we gotta be productive only, and we forgot about relationships. Which, by the way, relationships is not necessarily going to the bar with our friends and just have relationships. Is have a genuine, intentional approach with our people. What is your drive to come to work every day?
Yeah.
And of course, make an alignment, right?
Well, let's cut to the chase on this. Okay, so I hear the relationship stuff, right? But going out to the bars, that's a no-go. Like, there is a sense of, you said intentional, and I've heard this used too as strategic relationships, right? That's a reality too, is like knowing that, you know, there's folks that you're going to build relationships with, they're going to build relationships with you out of strategy, right? And there's intent behind it. And these are good, wholesome relationships. We're not talking about like, hey, Jose, I'm just going to hang out with you because there's just something in it for me. That's it, right? It can't just be falling on a transactional basis.
Correct.
Right. And that's what I need some of these entrepreneurs to hear, right? Like, there's just so much more. Like, I know when I started hanging out and talking with you, I see our relationship and stuff we're doing. I'm looking 20 years down the road.
Exactly.
I'm not going, oh man, what can I get out of this week or next month? I'm like, how do we change the leadership development availability in this area for the next 20 years? That's what I see when I talk to you and I talk to some of the other folks at OVCN and Chick-fil-A and other things. Yes. Right. So like when we're talking about relationships, I'm glad you brought that up, because I don't want people thinking like, oh, I only do a relationship because it's just strategic and there's a transaction to it. Like, there's so much more. And sorry, I just wanted to jump in on that because I was like, hey, I have some insight on this because I've heard people that were responding about that particular way of relationships.
Yes. So getting back to the imposter syndrome, so sometimes we believe, oh, people follow my manager or this other manager because he has good relationships with them. So this is what I have to do. And we fall in that trap of pretending being that other manager. And we forget, once again, yes, you have to give results to your organization as a leader, as a business owner, whatever it is, results is going to keep you alive, right? The door open. But at the same time, working on the strengths of each of your team members, how you can help them evolve that strength into something even better so that you can create a good environment for them to grow. That is ultimately the goal. And yes, getting back to relationships, I fell in that trap. That's what I said. I'm not sure I am a guru on that, David, because I fell in that trap for some time, not the longest, fortunately, but for some time, getting some networking events like if David is not going to buy, why should I speak with him at all? I mean, I'm wasting my time. And when we change the focus and the mindset on how I can better serve David, then David can think about me when an opportunity comes, either for his organization or for somebody who David knows. So that is, one way to avoid the imposter syndrome as well.
I've seen what you're talking about happen where a relationship was built, 7 years later, something happened. You know what I mean? It's just, that's how to approach it. I mean, it's really, I just want people to understand, don't do the networking to get someone to buy something, right? There's just so much more to it, right? And you saying serving folks and serving the community, that's the way to do it. And everybody gets caught up into like, oh man, how am I going to make this happen? And it's like you and I and some other folks go, you just got to build relationships. Just do it.
Exactly.
It takes time, but you're still compounding stuff for the future.
Exactly.
Right. So, the other thing was, and you're starting to get into it. I feel like you are, and it's overcoming the imposter syndrome. So, one thing I heard you say was when you're talking about the followers and get them following him just because he has relationships or anything, but like, What's the power in building an authentic confidence?
Can you rephrase the question?
So when you're talking about imposter syndrome,
Yes.
how to get away from that?
Yes.
How powerful would building authentic confidence be in overcoming imposter syndrome?
Well, once again, the confidence comes from within. The other day, I mentioned before that my background is in engineering and I was in manufacturing. So a friend of mine called me and then he started asking me some questions about manufacturing activities and devices that are needed in manufacturing machines and so on. So my wife told me later on, did you hear all that you said? Because you have the confidence about what you're talking about. So you know it, you have the experience, the expertise in that particular. I did it for 28 years. So certainly I learned something about that. I've been doing the leadership thing for about 8 years now. So certainly I feel very comfortable to be doing that as well. Well, I own my own company as well for 3 years, and I went through several lessons learned on that. So that adds up to the 8 years that I've been doing the leadership thing as well. But confidence is gained with that experience again. And yes, getting to read books as Raul is going to be reading, Nick Saban and some others, John Maxwell and some other gurus in leadership who have been doing that. We can learn from them and how we can put it into practice. And I believe that is the main trick about getting confidence, is learning from others that have been going through similar situations, how we can put it into practice and gain that confidence with those wins on our belts.
When you're doing a training or working with an organization with your company, is there a similar symptom you see in leadership in ways that they're looking to get fixed? Like, is there something that stands out in a lot of organizations where you're like, hey, this is something we definitely address in almost all of our trainings, or a good amount of the trainings we do? Is there something that sticks out?
Something that sticks out is actually kind of the opposite, David, is sometimes we believe we know what is hurting our organization. In some cases, if not most cases, we don't know what is hurting our organization. Sometimes we do know, like allowing sarcasm in our organization. Because people laugh. I mean, it's like a joke. Everybody's laughing. Yeah, but you're hurting people. So it's not allowed. It's a principle that we got to put into practice, that sarcasm is prohibited in our, literally prohibited. Nobody can do that. And it's like, the season for baseball is going to start, as Clint says. I'm very excited that it's coming up. And the batter is only, three strikes and out, right? So we got to be very strict on those rules that we have and principles and values in our organization that can help us put those into practice. So in some cases, people invite us to, we need this. But in reality, the need is a little bit, the 5 whys and why and why and why and why and why until you find the root cause on why it is happening. So sometimes we're trying to fix something that in reality, the root cause is deeper than just what we see on the surface.
Right. Hey, we got to run to a quick sponsorship break. So we are going to bounce out real quick and we'll be right back. Thank you guys so much. Hang in there.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair. My drains were clogged. I was really in despair. So I called some guy. You've never seen such a mess. And every time he leaned over, well, you can probably guess. Now I get it done right by Picture Rocks Cooling. They're neat and clean, peachy keen. Really no fooling. Got a problem? Just call up and help is coming. Picture Rocks Cooling, heating and plumbing.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in Southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash.
When you call in anonymously with a tip, you are given a code.
With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward. Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
You're listening to the Live the Dream Media Network, Arizona's premier live podcast studio and online radio.
I like your confidence, man. You're not scared of anything.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. It's funny because like the listeners and viewers, you guys don't see what happens during the breaks, right? Like it's just, but we were discussing a message we got regarding the imposter syndrome topic we're talking about. And this is a very interesting perspective. And someone wrote, it's those who don't doubt or reflect or second guess that are usually the most problematic. I think often the people who struggle the most with imposter syndrome are in fact the most competent. So Jose and I were talking about that, and we were talking about the factor of internal and external doubt.
Let me get back to that statement because it's divided in two. Mm-hmm. So the first one, the way that I interpret it is that sometimes we rely a lot on what we know, that we just say, just do it because I say so, right? I don't care. I don't, this is what we gotta do and get it done. So we believe we are avoiding imposter syndrome by pretending that we know how to get it done. Mm-hmm. So I assume that is the statement driven towards, like, we are not listening. We're not asking for suggestions. It's not really the right word, but we're not asking for a perspective from other team members on how to get it done. And I believe that is one of the approaches that this person is sharing with us. Mm-hmm. But during the break, we were discussing as well the imposter syndrome sometimes is played by being promoted when in reality the role is not a good fit for us or that particular person that was promoted. So being a good person in one level doesn't mean necessarily that it's going to excel at the next level. So we got to ask, do you really know what is required of you? Do you really know what you need to do for your team? And can you do it? And the third one is also, are you willing to do it? Because sometimes it's not something that we want to do. We can, but I don't want to do it. So it happens. So from supervisor to manager, from manager to director, from director to VP, doesn't necessarily mean excelling in one role, you're going to excel at the next one.
Right. Saw that a lot.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I've been on sales for, those 28 years. I was a sales engineer, is called that particular role. And I see in some cases a sales engineer promoted to a sales manager, that sales manager to director of sales, that director of sales to VP of sales. And they are very good sales engineers. When they start growing, unfortunately, they believe that their strengths and their gifts and their talents are the ones that the teammates have or should have, instead of looking for a more holistic approach. Like, the other day I heard holistic.
Yeah.
Make it whole, make it complete. How you can complement each other. What are your gifts and talents that are going to help me succeed on this, and how I can help you as well with your own goals.
When we're talking about a holistic approach in leadership, what does that mean? Because I've seen that lately. I would say in the last couple of years, I started seeing it be used a little more. So what does that mean?
The holistic is one, once again, on the 5 levels of leadership. I stayed on the third one, which is results. Mm-hmm. And forgetting that when you are a leader, your mindset should be about others. And yes, I mean, one of my cousins, he works at an accounting firm, and he was telling, he's a manager. He was a manager, it was a few years ago. He was a manager, and he was talking with his peer, employee, reporting to him. And he asked him, what is your goal in life? Oh, I want to be a chef. Well, guess what? We are not a cook. We are not a restaurant. We are an accounting firm. So I apologize. We cannot help you with your dream. So you are not going to excel here. You may want to consider looking for other ways to achieve your goal. What is your dream? What do you want to achieve in life? So sometimes we forget, the personal part of that. And by the way, this other person decided to leave. And of course, it was in good standing. Like, okay, give me time to look for a job. I'm not ready to move on.
Yeah.
And they supported each other. Of course, with a timeline, right? That we have to put boundaries. Dr. Henry Cloud says, put boundaries.
Yeah, I did a few episodes just on boundaries in the past with Clint. Clint and I did a couple episodes of setting boundaries and how important they are and how difficult it is too.
Yes. So getting back to leadership, we need boundaries. We need boundaries ourselves. We need boundaries by our managers as well. But I am the owner of the organization. Yes, your customers will set the boundaries. We always have to serve somebody, and getting to know those boundaries is going to be helping us to excel in a holistic approach. So sometimes we are told, don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics in the work environment. And I'm not saying that, yes, you should. What I'm saying is that sometimes we just completely miss that out. And then we just miss the empathy that we can have with other teammates.
Yeah.
Because they are of different religion or different politics, and we start setting boundaries that are not needed. So we need to be more inclusive on that.
Yeah, I love that. I like that story. So story for me, I was in government work before doing this, and the leaders I had, man, they're incredible. They're great. And one of them he's the chief of police now. It's just awesome. And the leadership that's with him are the guys that, I worked for and learned from. But they all knew what my admirations were, and that it was other stuff outside. And they did not hesitate to, hey, tell me what you need. We'll make that work. Yeah, keep doing it. You're always welcome here. If it doesn't work out, you can come back. Like all that, just that, like giving that boost, like, hey, it's all good. We got your back. You come in, you still do your work and whatever, but you can still do that. We can help, like referral. I mean, there's still stuff to do. Right. So hearing that approach, that's a life-changing leadership moment.
Yes.
Because here I am several years later, still recognizing that exchange and that behavior from the leaders at that time.
I love that story. And I forgot about that story, David. You told me before that story, but exactly that's what we mean by holistic is look at the person as a whole.
Yeah.
Like, okay, what are your dreams? What are you dreaming? I know that you got to bring food to the table. So you're working for me, quote unquote, for me in this organization because we want to achieve certain activities, certain goals for the organization. But at the same time, me as a leader, I am very literally interested in you, how you can develop your own gifts and talents and make your dream happen.
Right.
So I applaud your ex-manager and once again, you still think about him and speak about him because of that.
Yeah, he's still a good friend too. You know what I mean? He's going to go with us to an event coming up here this month. So it's like, it matters. It really does. So moving on. The next topic that was discussed and sent to us via message was time management for leaders, which interesting. Time management just in general is a challenge. I think if you're a leader or not, I think anybody at any level of the workforce or anything. I mean, even, stay at home parents and stuff, there's time management issues when you're taking care and teaching and everything. But, I figured we still do our best to dive into this. And time management for leaders. Do you have any prioritization techniques? How do you balance strategic and operational responsibilities, managing energy and not just time? So let's talk about the first one, prioritization techniques. I'll let you start, but before you start, I just want to express, I think it's different for everybody. So don't hold on to everything that we discussed. Like that's the golden ticket. That's the way to go. But I mean, take little nuggets of stuff. But I want you to start on that.
Yeah, priorities. I would say we can use the Eisenhower matrix. Specifically what is urgent and what is important. And sometimes we work on the urgent so hard that we are always with the urgent. The calendar with urgent is never going to stop. Mm-hmm. And the important thing, we don't make it happen, right? So we just miss the important things. And then we said, okay, one more day. And it was only urgent things that I took care of. So learning to prioritize the important things. Once again, it goes back to our values, to where we're heading to, where we want to be aiming to, is January the 8th. So if it's December 31st, 2025, what did you achieve based on the 8th, that you got this thought of, okay, I'm going to put the important on top of the urgent, and then it becomes a leadership opportunity. Who can I delegate this activity to? Because it is urgent. Has to be done. Mm-hmm. But me as a leader, who I can choose, and it goes back to the holistic approach, who has the strengths and the abilities, who can do it, and who is willing to do this for the wellness of the organization. It could be for the wellness of my family, my household. It could be for me as a personal, request for support. But identifying who has those abilities to support me on that. So learning to delegate those activities, the urgent ones, and just focus on the important. Not just, but focus more on the important part.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you on that. 100% support that. That's so well put, because I've ran into some time constraints when you bring up the urgent stuff. Like there's always the urgent stuff. There's always, hey, you got to get this report. I got to get this has to happen. But we have this saying here, we still need to leave room to play. And when we talk about leaving room to play, it isn't us going and playing ping pong out somewhere or anything like that. It's how do we play to innovate? How do we create something new, learn a new process that's faster, and or just completely mess something up, right? But still, we're trying to get better. If we stick in that vicious cycle of urgency, we can't
never gonna stop.
Yeah, we can't step out to play. And so that's one thing, early in my entrepreneurship and having Clint as an amazing mentor, friend and best friend and partner, he really preached like, hey, you got to get out of that loop. We got to step out and play and do things. So oftentimes, we will delegate things and like guys like Raul and some of the other team, they'll jump up. Hey, I can knock that out. I got that. And then you're like, all right, cool. Now I can go and try this to see if it works or not. And then now we've either grown in service availability. We've grown in speed on processes.
Of course.
So now we can do more. And it's like the only way to do that is to talk about what you just did. And
exactly.
You step outside of the urgency thing.
Yes.
And I just had a conversation with my wife about that too, which is really cool.
Yes.
Something happened last night. So,
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I have a similar conversation with my wife over the holidays as well, that I told her, I need to delegate more activities to you. Can you support me? So that's very important, right? I need your help. Can you really do it? And then she said, yes, I will help you, so that you can once again concentrate the efforts on the important, not on the urgent. Mm-hmm. And she's supporting, is an amazing supporter, of course.
Yeah, that's the best. And it comes down to communication.
It goes to communication.
You got to communicate it. My wife, she is the best at making sure we set up sometimes to communicate, like for stuff like that. Because we got to do some big changes here. And the same ask, like, hey, I got to be at work at 5:30 in the morning now. Mm-hmm. That takes a lot. You got to get the kids ready every day.
Exactly.
So, but it's just a temporary thing. You know what I mean? And then you and I will have our turns, right? At some point, like, hey, yeah, you got to, you know what I mean? Now it's your turn to step up and do that for a little bit. So,
yeah, well, my wife is going to be getting to Guatemala with the Oro Valley Church of the Nazarene. They have, my wife is a doctor, and this trip with Oro Valley Church of the Nazarene is for doctors. Not literally for doctors, but you're very welcome if you're a doctor, if you speak Spanish. And guess what? She's a doctor, she speaks Spanish.
Check,
I said,
check.
you gotta go. And she said, are you sure?
It's called a calling, my friend.
Then I told her, she asked me, are you sure? I said, I don't know. But then that is the support, right? That we need to support each other because, yes, I got to take, my daughter to school and, there are other activities that she's supporting us now.
Right.
So, yeah, but it plays both ways. Bottom line, it plays both ways. On a leadership perspective, you ask for a hand, and then when your teammate needs a hand, you give them a hand as well.
Absolutely. I love it. Hey, we're going to run to one more break. And when we get back, we are going to finish up the time management talk. And then we are going to talk about leadership at home. Wow. All right.
My heat and air were in a state of disrepair. My drains were clogged. I was really in despair. So I called some guy. You've never seen such a mess. And every time he leaned over, well, you can probably guess. Now I get it done right by Picture Rocks Cooling. They're neat and clean, peachy keen. Really no fooling. Got a problem? Just call up and help is coming. Picture Rocks Cooling, heating and plumbing.
Hi, I'm Alan Murdoch. For the past 20 years, I've been buying, fixing, and selling properties right here in Southern Arizona. And I want to buy your property. Whether it's a house, apartment, commercial building, or vacant land, regardless of the condition or the situation, I want to talk to you. When you sell to me, I pay cash and it's hassle-free. No repairs, no closing costs, and no commissions. If you have a property you don't want to deal with and you want a quick solution, call, text, or visit selltalon.com. Again, that's selltalon.com.
Discover the power of 88 Crime, where your anonymous tips are rewarded with cash. When you call in anonymously with a tip, you are given a code. With the code and a password, you can walk into a bank and redeem your reward anonymously. If your anonymous tip results in a felony arrest, you can claim up to $2,500 cash reward. Let's stop the silence on crime and strive for a safer community. For more information, please visit 88crime.org or call 88crime.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
We can print anything on our soft vanilla logo cookies. We deliver them and other sweet treats locally. We are located at 4249 West Ina Road, Suite 121. Call us 520-300-1131. We bake smiles.
Copper Creek Cookies, Copper Creek Cookies, CopperCreekCookies.net.
You're listening to the Live the Dream Media Network, Arizona's premier live podcast studio and online radio.
And we are back. We just had a conversation off air about Christmas movies and what we watched over the break. And my man Raul here has never seen National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I got zero clue what it is.
Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to find a way for that's like a requirement that we have to get that has to be done, man. That's a classic. That's the best way to set the tone for your holiday expectations. I'm sorry. I mean,
maybe Elf from Elf on.
Elf's good. Yeah, have you seen Elf with Will Ferrell?
I've seen that one.
Okay.
Let me ask you guys this: what's your guys' favorite Christmas movie?
I just told you, National Lampoon's for me.
Maybe Elf,
and then second is The Grinch.
What's The Grinch? I'm kidding.
Oh my gosh.
I'm kidding on that.
Yeah, my wife loves A Christmas Story. You know which one that is with the little kid with that lamp that has like the leg with the lingerie.
Oh
thing.
yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good, but I don't know. But anyway, okay. Sorry guys, got off track. All right, time management for leaders. We were going to talk about this one, managing energy. But what we're going to do is encourage listeners and viewers to go to this event to learn about this particular topic. Because why, Jose?
Valerie Burton is going to be addressing that particular topic, energy and resilience, how we can create resilience based on our energy, which is always very, very important. So what drives us, and the drive will give you the energy, right, to go and get the job done. Mm-hmm. And then she also is going to speak about, speaking of energy, what is the time during the day that you excel at, that you are aware. Many of us are early birds, and we like, kicking off the day with either reading or activities and so on. Some others are night owls. So it is fine. So getting back to on a leadership perspective is acknowledging, recognizing your own time of the day where you can excel from an energy perspective, but also your teammates. Don't ask everybody for the same. Hopefully they can be aligned, yes, but at the same time, like Steve Jobs, right? The manager said, just go and get it done at 1:00 in the morning because that's where you can create magic instead of being here with us at 7:00 as the rest of us doing our games as it was, back in the 80s, 70s, right? Late 70s when he started with Atari. Yeah.
1 a.m, huh? Yeah. Hey, what?
Yeah. That's what he was doing. So once again, is getting, okay, when do you know that you will be excelling at? And make a plan to make the decision in that time frame.
Right.
Decisions are better made when we are, fully capable, full of energy.
Yeah. So go to the event to hear that. I think that's going to be huge. So don't miss out on that. Again, tickets are still available. Jose is really cool and awesome in allowing our LTDM code to be used for the 10% off. So if you want to take advantage of it, go and make it happen. We look forward to seeing you there. I saw on LinkedIn there's quite a few people acknowledging they're going. So I'm going to do a call to action on those folks. Y'all said you're going.
Yes.
Let's make that happen. Let's go. I'll see you there. The next thing we're going to talk about before we bounce out of here for the day, because we're running out of time, is one that, SWOT analysis, strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Yeah. When I think about this I SWOT myself all the time, right? Talking about your drive and different things, and when I do a SWOT, this is a big weakness. I'm expressing my own known weakness on this, and it's when I do that, it's because I'm working hard at it. It's the work that's the hardest thing I work at is this, and it's leadership at home. And the key things in here that we're going to discuss briefly is how to transition between professional and personal leadership roles, balancing authority with emotional connection, and conflict resolution in family settings.
Those are very good questions.
Those
are very good questions. So we got to start by saying, we got to remember leadership is a mindset. It's a philosophy in life that we got to carry. And yes, I don't do this. If my wife is listening, she will be calling, he doesn't do that. Because I am a human being, right? I am a human being.
Yeah.
So the best thing that we can do, by the way, is having an accountability partner who can help you identify the blind spots that you miss the mark here or there. And then have a recap of your week, of your day, and have that, a good friend is the one who, what is in Proverbs, does it say? It says it's better a friend that hurts you rather than not a friend that is kissing you. Something between the lines, and I will remember and I will send that out. But so once again, leadership is a mindset. So when I was talking about relationships, it's also relationship at home. So when you're speaking with your wife, in our case, right, we are men and we are married with a woman, and when we speak with our wives, what is the relationship we can create with them? What makes you cry? What makes you laugh? What is your dream? So how can I help you? Actually, by the way, this trip to Guatemala with Oro Valley Church of the Nazarene, I am encouraging her to go. She said, she was like, maybe I should go. And I said, no, you gotta go. This is your dream. You're a doctor. You're a medical doctor. So you can put your gifts and talents to work there. And you speak Spanish. So certainly this is something that you can do. So once again, it's reiterating and reinforcing, this is your dream. And this is what I can do to support you in the family as it works in the work environment. With your kids, your children, sons and daughters is basically the same. We gotta help them identify those strengths, gifts, talents, and dreams. What do you dream about? What do you want to do? Where do you see yourself in a few years? Yeah. And I'm not talking about a role, but you as a person. So what are you doing to grow to be that person?
Yeah. I think I found the Proverbs 27:6, faithful are the wounds of a friend. which means that even when a true friend criticizes or hurts your feelings, their intentions are genuine and meant to help you grow.
Yes.
Unlike the deceitful actions of an enemy who may appear friendly on the surface.
And you hear me. I catch my breath because sometimes we as a parent, we want to just befriend our kids, our children, our wife, husband, whatever it is. And we don't allow them to face reality. And we are hurting.
Yeah.
Not purposefully, but we are hurting our family members. So this goes back to the work environment. It goes back at home. So let them face reality.
I love that. Hey, we got a chime. What's going on there? You got somebody?
Yes, we got just a comment, but it's pretty cool. On Brightview Window Clean says, so true. Leadership is so important in every aspect of life.
Absolutely. And Jose, you talking about this right here. So when I was a school resource officer, when I was a police officer, I was a school resource officer at a local high school. I was there for 3 years. And this right here was something that was not followed by 90% of my caseload. And what I mean by that is I spent a lot of time talking to parents that they were their kid's friend until high school. And now the kids they don't understand consequence and how the real world works. And so when they're getting arrested, right, the parents are going, well, they're trying to bring the hammer down now, or they're trying to set those boundaries now as opposed to before. And you know what I had to tell them? Unfortunately, you're too late. Don't give up, but you're late.
Yep.
This is going to be really difficult. And so hearing that hits me like, man, that was unfortunately, that's why I had a job over there, and I also taught and all the things, but like we had to help set boundaries for these kids that did not have them at home.
Yes.
And man, some people might get bothered by that, but that's just the reality of things. People get touchy about reality, and we're in a state in time now where we're seeing a reckoning of reality in a lot of ways, politically, economical, all this stuff. But like, man, if we could just highlight Proverbs 27:6 for the day, right? I'm not a pastor by any means.
Neither do I. Yeah.
Man, I'm glad you brought that up in this episode because it stands true to so many things. And here we are talking about leadership.
So it goes back to boundaries, right? We got to set boundaries. We as leaders, we got to set the boundaries, and it goes back to the 3 strikes and out. With family is not an option, right? Right. My son is going to stay my son for the longest, forever, actually. Yeah. My daughter, my wife. But at the same time, back at work, we got to set the boundaries so that these are, the rules of engagement. This is how we are going to be cooperating on both ends, by the way. So I can give you permission as well to keep me accountable. Me as your manager, keep me accountable that I will deliver these to you, these tools, these resources, this empowerment, all these that I will provide to you. You cannot fire me, but at the same time, I will welcome that input, that feedback, so that I can provide you with those tools.
Hey, and Brightview, thank you for watching and providing feedback. We love that you're participating and hope you have an incredible day and stay warm. Okay, the next thing about leadership at home. This is why I was talking to Raul about Christmas vacation here. And setting the expectation of your holiday experience. You know how all the family's there and there's just all the chaos and the cat catches on fire. Like it's just, anyways, conflict resolution in family settings. That's a fun time, right? Because you can't do it like you would at the workplace where, places have discipline matrix and they have, you can do one-on-ones and mediator meetings and all these different things. But in the conflict resolution in family settings is not the same. So I think that I anticipate where you're going to go with it. You know what I mean? But give us some insight on what you see with that and how you would approach that.
Well, this is very easy to teach, very easy to preach. It's very hard to implement. It's very, very hard to implement. I just had a conversation with my sister, and this morning, and we were just talking about having what do you want to be known for, and what are you known for? So that's a book by Jeff Henderson, by the way. I highly recommend that book. For is the name of the book, FOR. So what are you known for? What do you want to be known for? So we as a family, what are we known for? What do we want to be known for? And sometimes there is a big gap between those two. But it goes back to what are the principles and values that we're going to put into practice in this family, and goes back to Proverbs 26, you said?
26:7, yeah.
26:7. Okay, I'll rather give you, not with a sarcastic approach, because I know this will help you, but I will be very candid on my input, my feedback on what you did wrong, if you did anything wrong, or the perspective of what you did and how it hurts me. So we can have an open communication. My wife and I have been growing significantly on that in the past we said like, I don't want to hurt you, but I want to tell you, but I hope you don't get should let me know. Nowadays, we know that is with the heart, like we're speaking candidly with the idea that we're going to be supporting each other. So what you said, it hurt me. I welcome that you don't do it again. Okay, I'm sorry that I did that. It was not on purpose. You're my wife and I love you, so I don't want to do it again. So in a family environment, sometimes setting the boundaries again, that I'm not going to go on the sarcastic way to hurt you and laugh, that we can laugh, but at the same time it creates resentment. So we will be speaking specifically about the topic, and at the same time, I want to hear your perspective. So I told you the perspective of your actions, how it affects me or the family or the community or even you, because you may not realize that you're hurting yourself.
Right.
But I want to hear your perspective. So why do you do what you do? And sometimes we fall in the trap that we blame others, and sometimes we can say, you're right, I did wrong. And I apologize, then it happens.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about the stories, but
I think anybody watching or listening, or, this is a daily occurrence, right? And I want people to understand how important home life is, right? And you can't forget that. I had a conversation with my daughter this morning. It was last night. And she's at that age now where she just wants to grow up, and she pretends that she has meetings and stuff to go to, and that she's got to go to work and type and do different things. And I just told her, I said, hey, you don't got to do any of that. You just hang out, have fun. Just do it. Just stay at home. Just have fun while you're young. You know what I mean? Because when you get older, now you've gone into that, you've grown up, and now you still got to keep that fine line between home and the professional life. And I know a lot of people, especially just in entrepreneurship, that trying to keep it out of the house, there's phone calls that come that sometimes you have to take them, right? Like it's just it's that never ending navigating and doing things. And it's just like
the urgent and important.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I've had days where I turn my phone off and I literally hide it somewhere where I can't. I'm like, I'm just gonna put it over here and just forget that it's over there, like in a drawer in something. And then some days I know that I'm waiting on that call, I'm waiting on that text, I'm waiting on hearing something. So
yes, but also, David, it goes back as well to the relationship from a work perspective. Is when you have a good relationship with your teammates. You know what is going on at home. So if they feel down, you know what is going on. So I heard this story kind of recently about this girl that showed up. It was a military story. I don't know if it was true or not, but I heard this story that this woman, actually not a girl, but a woman, showed up at work, military, and then she was getting late. And then the officer, the colonel, I believe, was asking her, so why are you late all the time? Well, because I got to take my child. By the way, I'm a single mom. When my husband knew that I was pregnant, he left. Oh. So I'm a single mom, and my mom can help me in some situations, some cases, but most of the times I got to take my child to the childcare here, and they open at 6:30. which is the same time that I gotta show up here. So I cannot be there and be here at the same time. I apologize. I just need to drop off my child. And then, of course, the morale of the story is that the colonel spoke with the childcare and said, "Can you please open at 6?" So that, the military man and woman can come at 6:30 and show up on time. So sometimes just asking more personal questions allows us to get more in detail on what is going on in the minds of our people.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. Hey, let's end this. You see this, Raul? Can you zoom in that bad boy? This is an awesome literature piece and visual for the Live to Lead. Okay. Make sure you go to this. Don't miss out. I don't want to have to answer a bunch of awesome questions because you didn't go, because those will be answered there. Those too. So we want you to make this something that starts happening all the time. We're gonna do it. We're aiming to do this every year, right, Jose?
That is correct.
So Live to Lead. Hope to see you there. I'm gonna let Jose close out on more details about this event and how you can be part of it. Let's do that before we jump out.
AwakeningMindsLLC.com/L2L. That's a way to get the tickets. I highly recommend get a table setting. Those are deeply discounted. By the way, here, you got to acknowledge the value of this. It's not just the price that you're paying, but the value that you're getting out of it. And the value is that you will create action plan after each of these keynote speeches that we will get, including Dr. Dan Streeter, Choosing Excellence. It's going to be an excellent, excellent day. From 8 o'clock to 2 o'clock, lunch included, so don't worry about that. We will take care of you. And certainly our commitment is to give you more than your investment is worth for. So that is our commitment, and this social accountability. So you heard me. So you can say, I am expecting more. So we welcome that challenge as well. If you don't receive every penny back of your investment, let us know how we can make it happen for you. Yeah. That is our goal.
And to let everybody know, Local Marana, our mothership company is Live the Dream Media, and we wholeheartedly back this event. We are sponsoring, we're doing a lot of things in the background for it. Do it. Do it. It'll be worth it. Well, it's been a great time, as always, Jose. Can you believe it's been an hour already?
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
We're 4 minutes shy of an hour, just like that.
Wow.
It's just it goes by quick, don't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So you see, when you're in your strength zone, you don't realize you're in flow.
In the zone, baby.
In the zone,
Yeah.
exactly. So when you're in the zone, you don't realize, and that's we as a leader, we gotta find that our teammates are in the zone all the time. So all of a sudden, it's 5 o'clock. I gotta go home, but I'm still
pumped. I want to keep going.
Exactly. And I'm not suggesting by any means that they gotta work more time. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that they are so pumped that they want to make it happen, that they are so in the zone that they want to make it happen. And that's our goal as a leader.
Love it. It's been great having you guys here with us today. As always, we remind you, download the Live the Dream Media app that is now available on your Google Play and Apple stores. It has our top podcasts ready to go. You can go to those different, you got the Oversharing podcast, Backseat Thriver, and some others. Clint Peak just started his own solo show, which is really great. Make sure you check that out. Way to go, Clint. Southern Arizona Sports Talk is also on there with your boy Raul, who's in the director's box. He's got the state champion coach, Pat Nugent, joining him tomorrow here in studio. So don't miss that. Also, all this is possible because of what we do, right? At the core, we are a digital advertising company. We help businesses grow. So if you want to put your word, your message, your business out there to the world on Hulu, Paramount Plus, a bunch of other cool platforms, we're your go-to. We will help you. As always, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Much love. Stay warm.